Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we will discuss about steel casting. Now, first of all, going in detail about casting, we should know what are the advantages of steel casting. Steel is nothing but alloy of iron and carbon, and the tensile strength is ranging from 415 megapascal to 1930 megapascal, and it is ductile, tough, and resistant to shock, and properties can be controlled by controlling carbon content. And iron is quite soft and weak in the absence of carbon, but with the addition of carbon it gets hardened, it gets strengthened. And further improvement can be done by heat treatment. And now this figure gives the detail of the effect of carbon on this iron carbon system or steel. See, with the addition of carbon, the ultimate strength get increased, original hardness get decreased. But with the addition of carbon, this reduces ductility. Therefore, at the cost of ductility, they get the ultimate strength, brittle hardness get enhanced. Now, therefore, we can see the importance of it. Moreover, the cast steel is isotropic and having uniform property in all directions, while worked steel get work hardened and they have directional properties, isotropic properties, and the worked hardened steel is stronger in the direction of longest elongation. However, it is not only just it is isotropic, but also there is ease of welding. And but one advantage is that it requires extensive riser and high, as it is having high pouring temperature. Therefore, refractories, ladle, molding sand, metal transfer in shop, filling mouth with no misrun becomes difficult, and therefore we have to keep an eye and have to have precautions and have little modification so that we can overcome all these defects, overcome all these problems, and cover and we can have a sound product without any defect. Moreover, high solidification temperature gives problem in designing and molding. As we have seen over, all these problems has to be incorporated while having casting. Therefore, one of the major thing is the molding. Now we can go for any type of these type of molding processes, maybe green sand mold, dry sand mold, skin dried mold, or coarse sand mold. To enhance the strength of it, depending upon the strength, we have to choose the type of mold. Cement bounded molds can also be utilized for those where we are having thin sections, and invest in casting is also being utilized where there is dimensional accuracy is required, and therefore we go for investment casting. High pouring temperature prevents the use of permanent molds, because then the material of the mold is required, and therefore it prevents. And what to talk about casting plastic molding, plaster molding. Now therefore it is difficult to have all this the permanent molds and die casting molding. However, graphite molds can be adopted, but we have to take precaution so that the carbon pickup may be controlled. Now, green sand mold. Now, demand for high thermal stability. Because of high pouring temperature, there is a demand that the mold should be thermally stable and withstand the high temperature, and therefore requires pure molding sand, so that it can stable at high temperature. Should not fuse or deteriorate. We should not have all those additives which may cause fusion or get deteriorated, and therefore we have have a better type of molding sand, or pure sands. Compounds and mixture can also be made, so that depending upon the property we need, we can have the mixtures, and therefore bound for compound sand mixtures, etc., then bentonite and can be used. Now, high temperature alters the sand and replenished with new sand. Once it is being used, we had to get it changed, and the property of the sand get altered, and therefore we need to replenish it. Moreover, due to this high temperature, permeability is very important to vent all those moisture which get expanded. The volume of the moisture is also getting enhanced due to high temperature, high pouring temperature. Entrapped gas, organic additive, they give up into gases, and therefore that is to be given proper vending, so that they can escape from the cavity and will not get into the melt. Now, therefore, the permeability is increased by 3 times than other type of alloys. Now, there was much green sand work is done with facing sand. Facing sand is to be used. Pure facing sand should be used, so that it can give a more good surface. Now, other sand can be a baking sand, so that we can use this facing sand and as a backing sand, so that it can withstand the load of the casting. Now, therefore, the green sand molding casting defect may occur. Therefore, we have to keep an eye, because the carbon they react with moisture, and they give ferric oxide, and carbon monoxide is being released. Now, that get entrapped, the steam and carbon monoxide, they get entrapped, and they may cause defects like rat tails, buckles, scabs, hot tears, pinholes, etc., and therefore we have to take an account, so that these can be properly tackled with. Now, this is a figure of a rat tail. Now, here the stream and all that get entrapped, and they cause this type of curvature on the surface of it. Now, if it is enlarged, then this rat tail convert into this surface defect. However, now we can have now this more enhanced one, enlarged one, converts into buckles. Now, therefore, it is better to have a dry sand mold, because this moisture content can be reduced, and the defects, as being discussed now, can be overcome. Now dry sand mold is nothing but we make dry sand mold and we dry it before pouring, so that moisture content get reduced. And not only this reduces the moisture content, but also enhances the strength of the mold and avoids the defect like pinholes, etc., because moisture content is being reduced. Now, similarly, we can have a skin dried mold. Now, in the skin dried mold, we dry only the surface of the cavity, superficial drying up to 260 degree. Now, therefore, in case of skin dried mold, we do not dry the whole mold. Complete flask is not being dried, but only the cavity, the surface of the cavity is being dried. Therefore, we save energy and we can have a better surface finish. Now, by using torch, infrared lamp, hot air, we can dry the the surface of the cavity, and we can have a fine surface and which will come in contact of the molten metal. Now, another type of mold that we can go through can be used is that investment casting. When, as we know, when we need close tolerance, then we go for investment casting. And if there is a special alloy or a special shape which can't be taken into account by normal grease and mold, then we go for investment casting. For example, turbine blades subject to the high temperature service, we generally adopt investment casting. Now, shell molding can also be adopted. Now, in shell molding, where there the thin surfaces, there we can use chills so that the defect like hot tear may not occur, and therefore using chills we can eliminate surface defects. Ceramic molds for thinner section is also helpful, and therefore we can adopt the ceramic molds. Now, graphite mold with air pressure pouring is also a good alternative, like to produce steel car wheels. Now, here we have to take into account that the carbon pickup may be avoided. However, graphite mold with pressure, air pressure pouring can have a better surface finish. This is all about uh, uh, steel casting. We will go in detail of it in part 2. Assalamu alaikum.